Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, students and honorable guests. Welcome to the 2023 Masterful Minds, a career in copywriting. The event will begin soon, so please invite your friends to click on the YouTube link to join today's talk session. For those who have joined, please do make your presence known by interacting in the YouTube live chat. At the same time, please keep in mind to be respectful to one another throughout the running of today's event. Thank you for your kind cooperation, and we hope that you enjoy the event today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome, Mr. Zachariah Aydin Druckmann, the advisor of English Cultural Society Eclipse, and our honorable guest speakers for today's talk session. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon I bid to our lovely audience. To begin with today's event, I would like to invite everyone to please sit in respect as we sing our national anthem, Negaraku, followed by Wawasan Setia UiTM. Hadirin sekalian, dipersilakan bersiap sedia untuk menghormati nyanyian lagu Negaraku dan seterusnya lagu Wawasan Setia UiTM. There appears to be a technical issue. We appreciate your patience and understanding while we resolve the problem. Rest assured, we will begin soon.
Bersatu kita warga UiTM, kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setia untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terleka kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur keselamatan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah pendukung pewaris bangsa, kamilah penjalan bangsa Malaysia, kamilah warga berwawasan untuk negaraku.
Thank you, everyone. Before we continue with today's agenda, I would like to invite Muhammad Akmal Abdul Ghani to lead the prayer recitation and bless the smooth running of today's event.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Allahumma innaka khaliqul azim, innaka samiun alim, innaka ghafurur rahim. Innaka rabbul arsyil azim, innaka barrul jawadul karim. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan. Kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya Karim ya Rahim, cucurilah rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis Masterful Minds, a Career in Copywriting yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya Fa'al lima yurid, kami juga memohon perlindunganmu daripada segala perkara yang boleh mencacat celakan majlis kami dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dan berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you so much, Akmal, for gracing us with the wonderful recitation of the Dua. Ladies and gentlemen, the English Cultural Society Eclipse and Academy Pengajian Bahasa APB would like to welcome you to the Masterful Minds 2023, a talk on a career in copywriting. I am Sarah Zakir, and I'm your MC for today. To start off today's career talk, I would like to invite our esteemed advisor of Eclipse to begin today's event with a few words. Let us welcome Mr. Zachariah Druckmann.
All right, okay. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Am I audible, MC? All right, okay. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. I bid to our esteemed guests, Mr. Shafi Mustafa and also Mr. Ashraf Osman, okay, from Hexa Partners and FM Media respectively. And also thank you so much for all Academy Pengajian Bahasa and also UITM, both students and alumni for joining us today. Okay, basically this is a program that I would say is going to be very beneficial for especially those who are interested to look into, careers in, in copywriting, for example. Okay, because as we all know, as language students, sometimes when we talk about language, okay, or you are a language communication student. So what kind of career that you want to go into? Translation, or I want to teach, I want to become ambassador, right? And then so now we're trying to bring in another potential field for you to look into, because as we all know, being a student in a university, it's not just coming to classes and completing assignments and hoping to get that 4.0. Okay, it's the purpose of a university is to produce students to be able to be ready for the job market. Okay, that is, it's like all of you, when you graduate out there, you're hoping to join companies such as Petronas, okay, various government agencies, heck, or maybe even FM Media or Hexa Partners. Okay, so yeah, so from this program, okay, learn, because we have two guests that are, I would say, very credible. Okay, learn, and of course, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the YouTube comment section. We have students, we have Eclipse members monitoring that, and so on. Because in the end, this program, it's for you. It's for all of you. And yeah, may you guys will benefit from this program. All right. Okay. So yeah, enjoy. All right. Back to you, MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Zachariah Druckmann. Now, to continue with our talk, I would like to invite our moderator for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Mr. Abdul Kabir. The stage is all yours, Kabir.
Thank you to our beloved MC, Miss Sarah Zakir. Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and aspiring copywriters. I am delighted to welcome you to Masterful Minds, a Career in Copywriting 2023, brought to you by the English Cultural Society Eclipse. I, Abdul Kabir Abdul Aziz, your moderator for today, and I am thrilled to be guiding you throughout this insightful discussion. Greetings to Mr. Zachariah Aidin Rahman, the advisor for English Cultural Society, Eclipse, Mr. Shafi'i Mustafa, and Mr. Muhammad Ashraf, our invited speakers for this afternoon, and Ms. Sarah Zakir, our MC for the day, and finally, all of you lovely ladies and gentlemen who are here with us today. We are so glad to have all of you here. So today we have two remarkable speakers with us who will shed light on the dynamic world of copywriting in 2023. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf. So, to get to know our speakers, let's start with Mr. Shafi. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shafi is a seasoned professional in strategic communications and user-centered design, with a background in education and certifications in user experience and design thinking. Mr. Shafi has excelled in roles at organizations such as Meranti and Magic, where they've led diverse projects in PR, UI, UX design, and more. Currently serving as Managing Director at Hexa Partners and Technologies in Berhad, Mr. Shafi'i co-founded a dynamic design studio and innovation agency. Their commitment to serving government-linked agencies and securing substantial deals drives innovation. Mr. Shafi'i is here today to share insights and contribute to our discussion. Next is Mr. Ashraf. Mr. Ashraf is a versatile professional with a bachelor's degree in teaching English as a second language, TESOL, from UITM, and a commendable academic record. He currently holds the position of creative director at FM Media Sendirian Berhad, where he was promoted in May 2023. His career spans roles as a senior copywriter, involvement in telecommunications, and founding Linkura Language Services. He excels in his contributions to over 30 successful creative proposals for clients ranging from government entities to private corporations, including the noteworthy Sime Property Spotlight Day 2021 campaign. And today we have the privilege of learning from Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf to give insights on their achievements. Let's welcome them and let's explore this impressive journey with them together. So now, let's get started with Mr. Shafi. Mr. Shafi, please share your insights on the current landscape of the copywriting industry in 2023. And you have approximately 20 minutes for your presentation. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Presentation. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening. Uh, it's a very loaded question. I don't know where to start, but so just to actually give you a bit of background, I'm also part of the Tesla alumni, so to say, and we started as a language learner and then trained to actually be an English teacher, and I'm part of those people from the Faculty of Education that basically diverged from my line of background. And in terms of copywriting, I do a lot. I mean, there was this 2 years of my life in my career in Magic, in Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, that I work solely with writing and content. I've wrote speeches for the prime ministers, the KSUs, ketua-setiausaha ministries, the ministers, various ministers, the CEOs of Magic, and the heads of departments in Magic. In terms of landscape, it'll be interesting to actually take a look at. You guys have now ChatGPT. I mean, I learned programming design and data back then about 15 years ago when I was still in university. And we have to know back then where to look. And now those information has been curated based on the topics that you want to actually go into, the industry that you want to go into. So in terms of landscape, it's literally what you consume online and what you want to actually learn specifically. I would say that you pair your passion of something that you like and you want to do with the purpose that you want to be. And this is something that you can't actually decide now. You have to actually explore through internships, through uh, odd jobs, because looking at Ashraf, Zach, and I back then when we were studying in UITM, we did a lot of odd jobs. We explored. We didn't say no to a lot of things, but there's a lot of opportunities now. And the fact that we're doing this online is a testament of how technology has progressed, and that also includes opportunities. I could literally give you like 20 job portals that just dedicated to remote roles, and you can filter them to based on copywriting, or you want to actually go into design, or you want to go into UX writing. So UX writing is basically like how would you actually write for those interface. If you basically look at your screen at the moment, you would probably see phrases, right? Like on top of the menu bar, and when you click on the start button, the writings, those are specific technical skills. It's easy to write a lot, but it's so difficult to make writing simple. And once you reach that level, with ChatGPT, it can be helpful. But once it takes a human ingenuity and intellect to actually reach that level of simple but not simplest. And that is from my point of view, because I've done programming, design, data, PR, public relations, all because of language. And I utilized my ability to understand language to actually upskill myself. And in terms of general landscape, there's a lot of opportunities. That job scope, that job posting, that job portals that I said just now, I will share in the chat soon. But those are remote jobs that you don't even have to move about. You can still stay in Malaysia, but you're earning in USD or in uh, euro or in pound, right? And all of this, and Malaysia's talent is actually quite sought after, and it is something that you could actually just explore. And what I could actually advise, like I'm wrapping it up lah. Like is to actually build up the things that you've done. Even in universities, have a list of done projects that you need that is considered your portfolio, because that's what people like me, who's basically currently running five remote team members. Most of my team members are not even in Cyberjaya. One of them is actually in Sabah, another one in Penang, and the other one is in Johor. And we don't even have meetings. We have instructions. We know what we are going to do, and that's the state of work at this moment, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see where we go. And I guess that's just to wrap up. Upskill yourself and build up a strong portfolio, not just the things that you have done, but also passion projects, the things that you want to actually work on, and that would actually help you be informed. And yeah, back to you, Audrey. Audu- oh no, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Where did I cut off just now? Just at the end. Okay. Just to wrap up, you know, build up yourself, upskill, and build up your portfolios of the things that you've done and the things that you want to do.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shafi, for some bright insights on how to, pursue in the copywriting industry, to build your portfolio and, have a validity in your portfolio. So thank you for that. How about we move on to Mr. Ashraf to give his insights and, some sepatah dua kata, a brief introduction from him. So, Mr. Ashraf, the floor is yours.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Kabir, Mr. Moderator, looking very sharp ini. Thank you as well to Zach, my good old friend, for inviting me to share my experiences and insights in this event. Thank you as well to Fee for sharing his insights just now. Just so you guys know in the audience, me, Mr. Zach here, and Mr. Shafi, we are part of the same alumni group lah boleh kata. Back then masa study tu memang perangai gila-gila apa ke semua tu memang kita bertiga lah. Okay, so going back to Mr. Kabir punya question tadi, some insights and perspectives on both lah challenges and opportunities lah, I would say. I think I definitely agree with what Fee mentioned just now. One of the biggest things that happened this year is the availability of these AI tools lah, ChatGPT, Midjourney, and so on. So one word that I would say that I would use to describe this year in terms of not just copywriters saja, but maybe the entire creative industry is transformative lah. Sebab all of these AI tools they are not just a convenience tool. They are honestly a very very big game changer lah for the creative industry. So tak kira lah you pakai ChatGPT to help with your copywriting ke, you use Midjourney to generate images ke for your designs ke apa, or even if you use Adobe's punya creative suite these days, Photoshop apa semua pun dah enhance with AI generative tools as well. So creatives these days actually they have a much easier time to get their work done lah with the access to all of these tools. Tapi one of the things that I would say is a challenge is that with any sort of conveniences or anything yang tools to make things easier semua ni, there's always a catch lah. And the catch over here, it's not just the subscription fees that goes into all of these tools, tapi it's also contohnya lah ChatGPT. It has made it very easy to get started in copywriting and also for content writing lah. You could say, for instance, you want to start a blog on something, right? On laptops. Then you could just type into ChatGPT your prerequisites, what you want them to talk about, what you want them to focus on, and then within a minute or two, you akan dapat 1,000 words article that is talking about whatever topic that you chose just now. Tapi the challenge that arise from that, number one, is that companies are starting to turn that evil eye lah towards all of this. The prospect of why should I pay thousands for a copywriter when I can pay $10 for ChatGPT and get the same work done? So it's a sort of like a double-edged sword sikit lah. And in a way, I agree with these companies. Sebab one of the apa ni, so it's pure logic lah. Why would you pay, thousands for a human being that apa ni, can do the same level of work as a $10 subscription per month for an AI tool like ChatGPT. So one of the great challenges for copywriters this year has actually been to find the best ways lah for these AI generative tools to enhance their work further, whether it's about making your turnaround time a lot quicker, or the creativity being poured into your work to being greater, or the exploration of new concepts and directions as long as you, the copywriter, can make use of all of these tools to take your work to this next level, then not only is your job secured, tapi you also be in high demand lah in the industry. I sendiri pun, whenever I am looking for a new hire, tak kira lah for design ke, for copywriting ke, I will have a question regarding the use of AI tools. Sebab nak tak nak, whether you you embrace it or not, you like it or not, the landscape of the creative industry ni dah berubah banyak because of these tools. And so nak tak nak, whether you want to, you could stick true to your guns and stick to the old ways of doing things and all too. Tapi the reality is that these tools will only get better as time goes on. And so the more gap that you leave behind yourself and these tools, the harder it will be to catch up later on. So you have to see this year especially, and maybe 2022, 2021 as well, is like a true turning point for the industry. So we are witnessing sort of like a revolution skit in the workplace, not just for creative, tapi sebenarnya it has apa ni, dah terkena juga to other industries as well. Generally in the workplace now, the expectation is that you know how to use basic AI generative tools. So you could either take advantage of it and stay ahead of the game, or you can stick to those old ways of doing things and then you risk being left behind lah. Okay, so that is one of the greatest, I think, like I said, it's now double-edged sword. It is both a great opportunity for conveniences and also for to make things easier and faster for you, or it can be a great challenge as well. Dua-dua ni memang hand in hand. So nak tak nak, this is the reality of the creative industry now. So if you want to get into it, then you need to embrace these changes lah that's happening. Okay, back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Ashraf. And also thank you, Mr. P. As we can see, both of you, sentuh about how AI is taking over this job scope of copywriting and also other job scopes. Talking about AI, why don't we tackle some questions about the challenges in this copywriting industry since AI has joined the scene this year, probably. So how about we move on to my first question to both of you, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf. In today's ever-evolving digital landscape, what specific skills or attributes do you believe are most essential for copywriters to excel in their careers and also remain competitive in the industry? Since there's ChatGPT who can literally come up with any copywriting that you want in minutes. So, what are the specific skills and attributes do copywriters need to remain competitive and excel in their careers? Maybe we can start with Mr. Shafi.
Okay, so it's been a while since I actually looked at challenges, because being entrepreneur myself now, we tend to actually look at challenges as opportunities. And I mean, it's a good standing point in terms of, as a founder, you have teams that you have to actually handle, and you have to be this psychotic optimistic person. that they can't actually see that you are worried about something, or you're struggling about something, because they look for you for guidance. And in terms of challenges, okay, the thing is, all these AI algorithms, they use human stuff that we've developed over the years of its on in the internet. And my guess is continue on creating. The challenge is that don't stop, because you are using all these tools. The one that is not using them are the one that it will get replaced. Use these platforms not as a replacement of your talent, but as something complements your talent, because it takes a human being to actually know what's working, what looks good, what sounds good, what's you know because I the thing is that the challenge is always going to be that. And the thing about us, especially also you guys as well, I mean, now the fact that you guys have all these tools, right? And then you as a person are still developing in terms of your emotional state, the way that you think. My advice is to continue on, do it afraid, explore these tools, and those challenges will actually become opportunities, and just don't stop. And that's my 2 cents, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shafi. And let's move on to Mr. Ashraf. Mr. Ashraf, you are muted.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry. Lagging sikit on this laptop. Okay. What was I saying? I definitely agree dengan what Mr. Fee was saying just now about how when you come up with challenges, ni, when you come to challenges, you need to take it as an opportunity. So what we were talking about just now with regards to AI ke apa semua ni, you can't um, take the apa ni, the challenge, or embrace this challenge of AI tools coming in ni, and you leave out the human element out of it. Sebab like Fee was saying just now, the human element ni, at the end of the day, you are the one who will determine what works and what doesn't. Tau. You will have this innate feeling of what is appropriate and what is not. Sebab at the end of the day, how no matter how advanced these AI tools get, they will always be limited by what they learn, and what they learn is based on what we have created, what we sendiri put out there on the internet, and it will become an even worse, no, not worse, but a more unpredictable and uncontrollable field later on when AI tools need they start learning from things that are written by other AI tools. So bila kita sampai ke tahap yang itu, then it will become like a cyclical punya thing tau. AI tools will start reading things written by ChatGPT, and then they will think that benda tu betul. Walaupun factually it could be wrong. It could be saying that the sun rises from the west and sets down on in the east, and if that thing is on the internet, the AI tool is going to consider that as true, and that is where contohnya kita as apa ni the human element lah in the equation tu, you need to be there in order to identify all of these apa ni results of hallucinations within the algorithm ke, or ghosting effects ke, or plain out just wrong facts totally. And then so that's one thing lah regarding what we are talking about with AI tools. Tapi another thing as well, if we go back to basics lah, kalau we're talking about just specific skills and abilities yang I would deem most essential for copywriters ni. I've given this a lot of thought lah over the years ni. Apa ni? Sebab when you want to engage with other copywriters, or you want to hire other copywriters, is you need to be very precise in what you are looking for. So for me, what I would say is ada tiga benda je yang paling essential. Number one is adaptability. Number two is versatility, and number three is nuance. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not to say that benda-benda macam language accuracy or fluency semua tu are not important. Those things are important. Tapi I consider these to be like the bare minimum lah that you need to have to even venture into the role. So if you are not good with your apa ni, language accuracy dengan language fluency, then how are you going to write good copywriting that will convince other people when the language too becomes the barrier? So, okay, so when the question is talking about skills and abilities yang for copywriters to excel, tiga benda ni lah. So number one, just now we were talking about adaptability. Now, why I think this is important is because for the creative industry and actually more importantly the copywriting industry ni, our industry ni rapidly changes tau. Sebab kita memang nak tak nak kita kena follow trends. Kita kena follow trends social media lah, kita kena follow trends language lah, slang, all sorts of things. So contohnya within the past 5 years sahaja pun I have seen more change in the industry than the past contohnya 50 years lah. What with all of the AI tools lah, what with all of our rapidly changing trends on social media apa semua kan. The way that we talk, the way that we carry ourselves, what is important to us, all of these things are important variables whenever that you are writing any sort of copywriting things lah. So it's not just change due to the tools that we have, tapi it's also change in terms of societal ideals and also societal norms lah. So contohnya as a copywriter, we're not in the field of creative writing sebenarnya. Sebab we are not writing novels, we are not writing for our own pleasure, we are not writing to tell a story yang appeals to no, that's not a very apt description lah. Tapi itulah, we are not exactly creative writing sebenarnya. We are in the field of strategic creative writing. And so to excel or maybe even to sort of like stay relevant, you have to get a feel for what is important to your audience. But at the end of the day, as copywriters, you are writing to an audience. You are not writing based on what you think is interesting ke apa semua tu, and then the audience comes to you. No, you find the audience and then you write for them. So for example, 10 years ago, people contohnya they will cringe when you attempted to bring internet humor into the real world lah. You try to bawa memes and then cerita to your friends ke apa semua tu, they orang tak faham sangat, they orang akan cringe. Tapi these days the reverse pula yang jadi. People will cringe if you don't understand the obscure reference joke that you just made sebenarnya. So with this ever changing audience and it's rapidly changing, you as a copywriter, you need to also be ever changing and you need to be adaptable as well. You need to be willing to embrace all of these things ni. Sebab dia tak semestinya that you do it for your own personal life or your own personal pleasure, tapi you just do it for the sake of being effective at your job lah. So that is adaptability, number one. Number two is versatility. Now, this one I would say is more crucial due to how many diverse audiences lah that you'll be writing for. Sebab whenever that you are faced, you dapat a project apa semua ni, you have to face the fact lah that as a copywriter, most likely you're not going to be writing for just one audience all the time. You are going to have your primary market, and then you ada your secondary market, you ada your tertiary, and then you ada your surrounding or peripheral punya markets as well. So with all of these different audiences, you can face with different ideals, different cultures, different languages, different norms, and a lot of other differentiating things lah between them. And so this is where your versatility comes in. You need to adjust your way of speaking in order to suit them. Whether you suit them on an individual market punya basis ataupun you try to come up with something yang more general that doesn't offend any of the audiences that you are talking to, or you try to come up with something more personable that is that resonates with all of the audiences that we're talking about just now. And then bila you dah ada dua ni pun, you dah adapt, you dah versatile. There's one more thing juga. Yang ini is something that Mr. Fee just now was talking about lah, and I think it's nuance lah. So nuance ni is when you get in touch with your instincts ni. Sebab you have to have this confidence lah as a copywriter. You need to have this confidence that you know your target audience. You have done the research. You have delved into the community, and then you know what is right and what is wrong. So nuance is where this comes in lah. Basically, you've adapted already. You are versatile. You've done your due diligence lah to research the audience, to know what they like, what they respond to. Now you're gonna write your copy. Okay, nuance is that feel that you have to know what will work and what won't work with your audience. So contohnya, if we are talking about the local Malaysian audience lah, okay. One thing that I will say, kalau with Malaysian audience, there is this thing that we say. What was it? Maybe Fee can jump in as well and talk about this. Tapi there are 3 R's, if I'm not mistaken, 3 R's that we have to avoid whenever we are doing any sort of copy for Malaysian audience, which is religion, royalty, and there's one more R. Tapi at the moment I can't recall what it is.
Race.
Race, yes, thank you. Sorry. So race, religion, and royalty. Tiga benda ni jangan sentuh when you are writing for Malaysian punya audience. Why? Sebab benda-benda ni it cuts across semua ethnicities, semua groups in Malaysia. They will be offended kalau you talk about this. So that is where the nuance comes in lah. You need to be in touch with the audience that you are writing for. If not, then you akan make a joke, a silly joke about royalty contohnya, and then you dapat 11 months in jail lah. Kan? Susah lah macam tu. So admittedly, I have to say as well that this skill, nuance ni, is not something that you can pick up in the textbook lah. So you can't learn about this theoretically. Even right now, I'm talking about it ni pun, you're not going to perfectly get it. You're not going to, maybe you'll have some understanding of it, tapi in order to really acquire the skill, you need to do it. You need to put it into practice because it's wholly a practical skill lah. And so this sort of feel or chemistry that you have with your audience will then help guide you to pick out the right words when you are writing your copy. Because the copy you want to avoid speaking to your audience. You want to conversate with them. People these days, the audience, they appreciate when benda tu is a two-way sort of communication lah. So when you are speaking to them, they will feel like they are being lectured to. Tapi if you conversate with them, you speak with them, then they will feel benda tu relatable. And that is a very small difference that will make a huge impact on the audience these days. So yeah, that's my 2 cents pula lah on this. Okay, back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashraf and Mr. Shafi, for your feedbacks. So basically, what I understand from both of you is that although AI is, taking over this industry, we don't have to see it as an opponent, a competition. We should adapt with the AI and use it as another skill for us. Is that right? So, aside from our own knowledge for copywriting, we also need to use AI to enhance the quality of our copywriting. And based on Mr. Ashraf's three skills that are important for aspiring copywriters are adaptability, versatility, and nuance. So in summary, basically AI has their limits. So even though you give a prompt on what to say, what to do in the copywriting, they have their limit and they don't have that human touch. And so we as human copywriters will give that human touch, that slight nudge to give it more quality and to make sure that it is relatable to the audience. Thank you for the answers, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf. And I believe there was a question from the YouTube Live or from Charms Date. How do you face writer's block, especially when writing for a field you're unfamiliar with? Would you consult experts of the industry? So, Mr. Shafi or Mr. Ashraf, any one of you want to take this question?
Okay. Um, what I will always do is the thing is, there is this meme or like these posters that you found on social media about if you're confused, you read, if you're sad, you take a walk, that kind of thing. This falls into that. If you're facing writer's block, like if I face some sort of blockage in terms of, I will probably do a bit of reading. And the thing that works for me is that the perks of learning educational psychology is that when you're stuck at something, um, leave it. You probably have done the groundwork. You've done your research and whatnot. You still can't write about it, or you can't actually create or develop on something. Go do something that is mundane. Like for me, I do chores. I clean the house. I do the dishes. There's one time I was scooping my cat's litter box, and then it came, because that's what your subconscious do. It solve problems. And the moment that happens, I always have in my pocket, look, see, something to write on and a pen. So the moment that spark of genius or the spark of idea come to play, you have to write it down. And it works for me. It works on almost every occasion. There are certain things that it's beyond your expertise. At that point, you should build up your networks. And the thing about working, right, I think what I could actually also, in terms of consulting, make sure that you text people, keep relationship of all these experts that you have. And and there will come a time that they would actually, ask for help. Just ask for help, and most of the time they would actually respond. None, I have yet to actually got rejected by asking for help, especially on information. So please do that, especially on fields that you're unfamiliar with.
Thank you, Mr. Shafi. How about you, Mr. Ashraf? Would you like to give your 2 cents?
Yeah, definitely. And everything that Fee mentioned just now too, 100% true. I have had my own experiences where you not that na and kung sana pun, you will always come upon a time where you either get a writer's block because it could be because you penat sangat ke, or you've been focusing so much on something that you develop tunnel vision now. And when one tunnel vision ni is actually one of the most dangerous things that apa ni, a creative can have. It doesn't matter whether you're a copywriter ke, you're a designer ke, tapi when you have tunnel vision ni, you actually become too focused on one perspective lah, which is your perspective. You are looking at something from angle A sahaja, which is why it's very important. Contohnya, I think you guys pun lah apa ni tengah study apa semua ni, you are always told to brainstorm ideas and all that kan. And there is a very fundamental reason why you are recommended to brainstorm ideas is because you need multiple perspectives when you are looking at a problem. Sometimes dari your perspective you tak nampak the solution, you tak nampak the way out, tapi actually dari from a different person's perspective, they can easily see the solution that you are looking for though. And that's why, like we said, you go outside and you do mundane stuff, you do something that can clear your mind from that tunnel vision though. And while you are doing that thing though, don't focus your mind on the problem that you are trying to solve. Instead, focus on doing that mundane stuff lah. So tak kira lah you are cleaning out your apa ni, cat's litter ke, or you just going out for a run ke, you nak go and lepak dengan kawan-kawan ke, inspiration can come from anywhere. That's the thing tau. So inspiration ni, a lot of people can say that oh aku dapat apa ni, eh, aku dapat the inspiration tu macam wahyu turun dari langit kan. And benda tu memang betul lah, sebab memang wahyu tu dia boleh turun dari langit. Dia boleh, you could be randomly about to doze off, about to fall asleep, and then tiba-tiba your subconscious, dude, That's the solution. Macam tu je. And then that's where you need your notebook ke, you need your phone ke, anywhere close by, and then write it down. Because the thing is, kalau you put off benda tu, you akan lupa. Benda tu memang anything that is told to us by our subconscious ni memang kita cepat lupa. So you need to make sure that you write it down lah. Kalau tak, memang inspirasi tu akan kembali ke langit lah. Yeah, I think that's about it lah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashraf and Mr. Shafi. So I believe what is the takeaway from here is that if you have a writer's block, take a breather and then do activities that you like, such as Mr. Shafi cleaning the cat's poop, and then suddenly idea came. Wow, wahyu dari langit. So you have to you have to be prepared, and if when the wahyu came, you have to write it down, and that is when your idea will come. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Miss Chamsky. I think we have another question from the YouTube comments from Rana Ditesh. Since we can use any AI tools for copywriting, then how do AI-powered copywriting tools assist the copywriters in generating content?
Hmm.
So, any Mr. Shafi or Mr. Ashraf, the floor is yours.
I think this is a very short answer lah. I mean, this is also a good strategy if you're stuck, right? And ever since, like, let's just take like example of ChatGPT. When they launched last year, it took them just 5 days to gain 500 million active users, and that cuts off Google, the search engine, 45% of their traffic, which means that language-based interactiveness is basically the next trend, or is the current trend that is people are looking out for. And in terms of how do AI-powered copywriting tools assist the copywriting in generating content, is that you need to know what you're looking for, right? You have, because they basically rely on what you want, right? You have to type down, pretend to be, so this is what we call prompt, right? Prompt writing, and you have to think before, and then you have to prime the AI. You have to say that, oh, pretend to be an expert in social media. I need 5 suggestion of a powerful and and convincing hook for a social media post copy that looks into a pharmaceutical product, and then you attach a PDF if you paid for ChatGPT, and ask question before giving out your final answer, at least 10 questions to build up your understanding. And then, do you understand me? And then the AI would respond saying that, yeah, I am. And then dia bagi 10 soalan or 20 question, or what's your business like, what's the name of the pharmaceutical, who's the target demographic. And the way that this AI asking questions are what you're supposed to do when you're talking to another human being, because clarity comes when you ask a lot of questions. And this is what I always tell to students as well when I was teaching in universities, is that what separates the B students from the A students, directly after a lecturer bagi final year project assignment ke, or assignment in general, is basically like, is there any question? And then you went off, the B student went off, and then the A student stayed back and start asking like a lot of questions. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? That's what AI learns, and that's what the algorithm learns. And they want to make sure that they give the best response and answer. And that's how they generate really good content. But at the end of the day, it's still like how Ashraf and I actually said just now, is that all these tools are just tools. And you have to treat them as tools. They will give you a lot of examples. Let them inspire you as a writer, and always remember the task at hand. What is the goal that you want to actually reach, and generate content by asking really pointed questions, and just let the idea flow with the help of the AI. Not the AI is helping you. Get it? It's subtle. It's more like it's just another tool, like how you using Microsoft Word, like how you use Google Doc, how you use Twitter, how you use Facebook, right? So that is basically it. Do read up on prompt engineering. It's basically how to ask strong, clear, precise requests to this AI.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shafi. And Mr. Ashraf, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, over here in FM, we actually have a saying sikit lah, when when we're dealing with AI tools ni. Treat them like an over enthusiastic intern. Sebab the thing about apa ni, when I'm guessing the students here, maybe some of you are doing your internship now, maybe some of you bakal buat next semester, maybe some of you have gone through already. So one of the thing about when you're doing your internship, I think is that you are, as the intern ni, you pandai buat kerja sebenarnya. A lot of the interns that I have faced with selama ni that I've taken in, sebenarnya dia reti buat kerja. Tapi they don't know yet what is the best way to do the work though. They don't know what is the best solution. They don't know which will work, what will not work. Going back to the three skills that I mentioned tadi lah, kan, the nuance. So they haven't acquired that yet, and they haven't acquired maybe some of the technical knowledge as well. So that is where prompt engineering that Fee mentioned just now though, that's where it comes in. You as the person who is guiding this intern, this over enthusiastic intern named ChatGPT ni, you need to ask them and instruct them with the right questions, the right tasks, the right prompts. You need to tell them exactly how to think. You need to tell them exactly what to do. And so bila you nak sampai ke tahap tu, you need to be very very clear about what you want to get done. Sebab kalau you leave it up to the intern, the intern in this case, to faham what it is that you want sebenarnya, you sendiri akan get frustrated lah by the results. So you have to put yourself in that sort of context, in that sort of shoes. When you were an intern or you are an intern, you baru start kerja or you baru start doing something, you tak reti lagi nak buat benda tu, you need to have the right instructions, right? So when you are dealing with AI tools, you need to imagine that they need the right instructions as well. So you need to learn how to do prompts properly. You need to be clear about what you want. It is what you want done, and then afterwards, you also need to be good at evaluating the results that come from the AI tools. So, but like I said just now, these tools, they don't know what's right and what's wrong. They don't know what will work and what will not. It's all based on just data points sahaja. And these data points could be anything from news articles all the way to Reddit posts. So you know how bad some Reddit posts can be in terms of facts, in terms of tone, in terms of macam-macam. Okay, so you need to be that final evaluator juga of determining whether something can be used effectively in your work or not. Okay, so macam tu lah. I have used ChatGPT for a lot of things sebenarnya. I have used it for inspiration. Like we said just now lah, writer's block kan. So sometimes tu kalau macam I don't know what sort of directions that I want to explore for a certain project ke, I minta lah 5 different options from ChatGPT, and I don't use exactly what is written there. I take those and then I explore them on my own. So to be inspired by ChatGPT punya options, that's one thing. Another thing as well, this one I find it a bit more effective, tapi when we talk about proofreading. So proofreading, they all these AI tools, I've used both Bard as well as ChatGPT. Most of the time, their proofreading is very very good lah. So as long as your initial writing tu tak teruk sangat to a point that diorang salah faham what you wrote and nothing gets lost in translation, then most likely they will be able to proofread and to apa ni, betulkan your grammatical structure ke, your apa ni, typos and spelling errors ke, apa semua tu. All of that is very effective. In terms of generating content, I would say kalau you want to use it to write an article, contohnya, or to write an essay, uh, provide the right information. Because if you don't provide the right information, I think lepas ni I can touch a little bit more on this. Tapi when AI hallucinates, contohnya, and they start to come up with non-facts now, non-factual things. These are totally like fictional things, tapi they are based on real things. And the way that the ChatGPT will tell you about these things ni, you sendiri akan percaya yang benda tu betul. So kalau you ambil bulat-bulat, you letak dekat dalam your article ke apa ke semua tu, and other people baca, other people do the research, and then they'll find out benda tu tak betul, benda tu is false or tak wujud langsung, then well, it will affect your your apa ni, your results lah, your performance kan. So anything that you get from ChatGPT, you need to make sure the right things go in, and then you need to evaluate the right things come out as well. Those are apa ni, what I would say my advice lah whenever you're using these tools for copywriting or generating content.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashraf and Mr. Shafi. So what I understand is that use the AI tools, give a proper prompt, a specific prompt that you want, and evaluate the answer that they gave, so that it wouldn't be like you said, a fantasy, benda yang tak betul. So kita jangan ambil buta-buta from the ChatGPT, and we have to evaluate ourselves. Thank you for the answer. I hope that answers your question, Naditesh. So I believe we have one more question from the YouTube chat from Mr. Zakaria Aidin Rahman. Okay. It is unquestionable that written skills are highly essential for a copywriter. In your opinion, what about verbal or oral skills? So, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf, floor is yours.
Um, I work in the tech industry where verbal and oral skills are they're really good at their jobs. I'm gonna put that out there first. Okay, they're really good at the output of the things. They're really good at their writing, their programming, their design, creative artworks. But then they have to present it to the people that they are required to present, to their clients, to a person in charge of other department. And I was hired because of that, right? They saw that, oh, Mr. Fee has a theater background. And then they liked me during me. I was the face of that department for nearly 6 years. And it's really important for you to actually be able to clarify and communicate ideas so that they could actually get the buy-in. And the thing is, even though it's good, you need to be able to justify the creative decisions that you actually make and in writing, and for example, in writing, why would you choose this word instead of this word, right? In design, in artwork, creative artworks, why do you choose this color instead of this color? Why do you put the design this way instead of this way? And a lot of designers, writers, they tend to have this challenge of articulate their thought process, and that is where it will be a very uh how would I say it? I don't want to say an insult to your job as a writer, because you write for an organization or for a department for so many years, and you failed to write for yourself. So the lesson here is, if you want to actually improve on your verbal and oral skills, it's intensely important, especially in the working environment. Um, you need to be able to write for yourself in terms of being very conscious of the actions that you chose to make at work. And that comes with journaling. And I journal on a daily basis, it helps because it keeps you aligned professionally, and it keeps a very clear distinction between like how just now when Ashraf said something about the 3R, you know, royalty, race, and religion. It keeps you grounded in terms of the demographic of the things that you are creating those content or writing that for, right? And when you actually make those decisions while you are creating those content, and then you present to your bosses, it's nerve-wracking. I think verbal oral skills is just half of it. The other half of it is confidence. You know, you can also have good verbal and oral but and then the moment you stand in front, and then the boss, the CEO, the prime minister, the special officer actually start asking questions, and then you're like stuttering yourself out. That is a challenge, and then you start kicking yourself and say, what happened to me? Yeah, right. So it's a 50-50 kind of thing. You develop by writing down your thought process, build up your experience by volunteering, presenting certain projects, you know, even though you're an intern or you're just starting out as a entry level role. Volunteer, find as much as need, because as time goes, when you do it and by repetition, it actually helps in improving the skills. So written skills is already given. That is something that you have to develop if you want to be a copywriter. But in the ability to present it comes with verbal skills, and also that self-confidence in a setting. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shafi. And Mr. Ashraf, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I think I just want to continue from what Ms. P was saying just now. So presenting, that's one part of it. You are presenting, and that one you can say that it is sort of like internally, or you are presenting to your clients ke benda-benda macam tu lah. Tapi those are, I would say, the presentation, the soft skills aspect of the having all of these oral and verbal skills ni. Tapi aside from that, I also think that the as a copywriter, the oral, verbal, and one more is social skills to put. It actually plays a role in the sense that it will guide and it will advise what you are writing as well. So, but there is it's not really a saying lah, tapi you guys all have heard of the phrase which is rolls off the tongue, right? So rolls off the tongue ni, it's a phrase that I use very frequently in my own copywriting lah. So it doesn't matter whether I am proposing a name for a residential product ke, for a new car ke, or I'm trying to write copywriting for social media ke kan. When we are talking about rolls of the tongue ni, it means that it needs to come naturally tau, benda tu. So I know that a lot of you have probably read social media posts and comments that you boleh rasa macam, oh, this guy, really typed out and edited dia punya response ni to become very, very proper and semua tu kan. So when you come into copywriting, you need to, in most cases, you need to avoid writing too much. That's what I would say. One of the key surface level differences between copywriting and content writing is that copywriting, when you are being strategic, you need to write. You need to tell more by writing less. Sebab when you are doing, say, a billboard or a poster ke apa, takkan you nak letak a whole paragraph dekat dalam a billboard kan, nanti orang driving tak boleh nak baca lah kan. Or you put a whole paragraph in a poster, and poster tu dekat bus station, and then orang pun akan, dia orang dah penat dah kerja ke pergi kelas ke apa bagai sesuatu, they're not going to read an entire paragraph on your poster. So you need to be very strategic of what you need to write in there, and then also what what people boleh accept lah in the situations or the context that they are going to see your advertisement to. So this is where your social skills will come in. you need to be in tune with the society. If not, then how are you going to effectively speak to them? So whenever you are doing your writing ni, when we do writing sahaja, we tend to put in contohnya lah proper grammatical structure kan, we tend to put in apa ni, sophisticated words, bombastic words, benda-benda macam tu. Tapi when we're doing copywriting ni, you need to sometimes not all the time, but sometimes you need to dumb down the language to fit with the audience that you are speaking to. And you won't be able to be in tune with that if you don't have the oral and the verbal skills ni. Sebab all of these social skills ni, they are easily picked up when you socially interact with people. When you go out there, you know, you speak to the peniaga-peniaga dekat pasar malam. You go out there and you talk with the people protesting ke apa bagai semua tu. When you speak with them, barulah you akan dapat the, you know, the emotion, you akan dapat the apa ni, the ideals behind whatever that they are doing, and then from there you can write effective copywriting that really is more relatable to them. Sebab if you rely only on your writing skills saja, which is whatever lah, grammatically correct and accurate and so on semua ni, you will tend to lose their voice. When you lose their voice in your copywriting ni, then you will replace it with your own voice. And when you put in your own voice ni, you have this tendency to shock sendiri sikit. Bila shock sendiri ni, dia takkan resonate lah with your audience. So that's why writing skills, definitely that is a given already. Tapi verbal, oral skills, social skills semua ni pun is something that you need to develop as well. Kenapa? Sebab these things are what will make you in tune with your audience, and then we will help guide you in writing the right things.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf. So again, what I understand from Mr. Shafi is that, you know, aside from writing skills, the oral and verbal skills are also important because you need to present your ideas to your supervisors or your bosses. So at that point, you need to have that confidence to provide the information, the result of copywriting that you have done, so that they would accept the copywriting. So if let's say if you don't have any confidence, you might not, you know, dapat apa tu, dapat green light daripada bosses. And from Mr. Ashraf pula, what I can understand is that aside from writing skills, the oral and verbal skills also translates into our copywriting. Because if we just rely on our writing skills, the result might be is not in tune with the conversational language. Because we want people to read our copywriting in a conversational language. I'm intrigued by an example from Mr. Shafi in our private chat where he said the Siti Khadijah punya copywriting. Nak mak teringin sangat nak telefon Siti Khadijah. So if we read that copywriting, that sentence, we automatically think in our head like, oh, why Siti Khadijah? Kenapa mak aku nak telefon Siti Khadijah? And that's just a very simple sentence that would make people intrigued on why we want to buy telefon Siti Khadijah. And Mr. Ashraf also mentioned, you know, you have to tone down and we have to kurangkan the writing. Kita tak nak tulis one paragraph, kita nak tulis sikit-sikit je. So basically, less is more, and it is more
And,
effective to the
and
audience.
one more thing I want to add, Mr. Kabir. You know, Fi's example about Siti Khadijah though is so apt, right? Because it's one example of very very effective punya copywriting tau. Sebab not only is it a apa ni, a hit within its own brand tu, tapi it became such a what's the right word to use this, sensational or influencing punya sort of phrase tu, sampai kan other
Icon might be.
brands, maybe iconic, yeah, very iconic,
Yeah.
to a point that other brands mimic that in a sort of parody punya way ke, or apa ni, joking punya way. Tapi sometimes they will find a sort of like a synonym to that apa ni sort of tagline or phrase headline tu to pakai dekat their own brand pula. So that is one example of very effective punya copywriting lah sebenarnya.
Also,
Yeah,
just to
that's
actually
true.
like build on what Ashraf said just now, is that uh, for me, copywriting is a really strong subset and essence of a brand. And you know, with just one headline, for example, like if I say I'm loving it with that kind of tone, you already know what kind of brand I'm referring to, right? And there's a lot of examples as if you go down that route. And this, I mean, if you read stories behind how those taglines are built, it's not like somebody half an hour created it. It takes months, like a group of teams, a lot of sticky notes in in a room somewhere to actually reach to that point. And copywriting, it's a collaborative effort as well, you know. And when you actually write things like that, the best thing to actually just show it, you know, is to share it, get feedback, and then iterate and improve. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I do believe copywriting is one of the most powerful weapon for a company because the copywriting makes the brand, like Mr. Shafi said, Telekong Siti Khalijah. Every time we think of Telekong, we think of Siti Khalijah. We hear the slogan, I'm loving it, we think of McDonald's. Finger licking good, we think of KFC. Privacy, that's Apple. So kita percaya yang Apple will give you privacy. So copywriting is a very powerful weapon. I believe there are no more questions from the chat box. So let's proceed with a question from me. So we have been talking about the AI in helping copywriters to become another tool for copywriters. However, since AI is so popular, do you think that there is a concern on the job of copywriters? You know, the companies might not hire copywriters because they might think, oh, I might just use AI. So is there a danger in the copywriting industry, or they might open another role for copywriters? So what are your opinions on that?
I think I want to start that with a story. I always use this as a starting point about innovation as a disruption, as a disrupting force in whatever that we do as in a society. Back then in 1970, when elevators was first created post World War, a lot of people are afraid to actually go into elevators, you know, in New York, in Chicago, and whatnot, to a point where they created new jobs, right? And this person literally just stand inside, and the moment people comes in and ask which floor, and then they press for 15 to 20 years. That's their job. They even unionize. They even like basically to a point where right now dekat New York ada 2 building je yang actually still use elevator caddies. But as time goes by, people are comfortable enough to actually press, and they're not afraid anymore. And you can actually see that kind of innovation is happening now with self-driving cars. AI is also a part of that trend. Like how I said earlier on, it's the challenge will always be there, right? Every new thing that comes in, you have to upskill yourself to actually make you relevant to that innovation, and that would actually make you being sought after. Because of AI tools like that, they are creation of new roles called prompt engineers, you know. And it's basically a fancy word. Is basically just people who basically ask really good questions. um, and there are people that will always say that why should I hire a person? I mean, a human being when I can use AI. You could reply by saying, are you confident enough to say that's good for your business? Are you confident enough to actually take the output with your eyes that it would actually get you more money for your company? That's what we do. That's what copywriters do. That's what designers do. That's what programmers do. And that's what we are not, I mean, you should not be afraid that this will not replace you as a talent so long as you use those tools to help you be a better advantage. And the more you use this, the more you have the upper hand than those people who are not using them. Okay, so yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shafi, for the feedback. And how about Mr. Ashraf?
I think both of us we've been speaking at length already about AI ni dari tadi. Even the many questions coming up pun so about AI. Tapi yelah, I mean, going back to what we were talking about just now, it's a huge game changer tau. It's a very transformative punya element apa ni in the past few years ni. So the question just now, Kabir, it was whether copywriters are in danger lah, and how the copywriters punya role ni is evolving with the rise of AI kan. What I would say is just adding on lah to everything that we have talked about just now, is that there's another role of copywriters lah that AI can theoretically help with, but speaking from my own experience, and this one goes in tandem lah with everything just now though, whatever results that you dapat from AI ni, you have to be careful with it, because you yourself, you need to make sure that you as a copywriter, you bring value. Okay, no matter what work that you do in this world, you need to ensure that you bring value. So if your value is at the same level as a $10 a month punya subscription to ChatGPT, then of course you're going to be in danger, kan? So dari situlah you have to study, you have to make use of the AI tools, and then you have to discover what are their limitations, and then dari situ you figure out ways that you can use those tools to enhance your own work. So one of the aspects of copywriting lah that I could say you could use, potentially you could use AI tools to help with, is researching. Sebab as a copywriter, one of the things yang often looked people don't really consider sangat lah, is that as a copywriter ni, you're going to be doing a lot of researching. Whether you're researching the topics ni, you're reading case studies ke, you're reading community comments ke, you're reading whatever lah, online forums like Reddit ke, Twitter ke, Facebook ke, you're reading articles, you're reading research articles, you're reading regular articles, you're reading news ke. There's a lot of things that you need to pull from in order to put into your copywriting. So in other words, in addition to writing a lot, you'll also be reading a whole heap of things lah. So for example, you dapat a new project. You need to come up with the copy direction for a car sales campaign lah. Okay. Now you could go the easy route and then you just do a simple, beli dan menang or durian runtuh, or any of the other tired concepts for a car sales campaign ni. Or you want to propose something truly unique lah for your client. Okay. So let's say we want to go for something unique. That means you need to research what has been done by your competitors, and then you figure out niche mana you nak tackle ni. And so theoretically, AI, they could help with pulling up all of the relevant links and case studies for you to study. Sebab kalau tak, you will be spending kalau from my experience, I have once spent 3 days just finding the right links sahaja, finding the right books, finding the right articles to read. And then after the 3 days tu, baru I start my reading. Baru I start properly researching and determining whether those articles that I found tu boleh pakai ke tidak. Okay, so you'll be spending a lot of time. And AI theoretically can help in this aspect by pulling up the right links lah, yang paling kena mengena dengan whatever that you are researching. However, that is the ideal case scenario. But from my own experience, bila I guna these tools to tackle my research lah kan, because of all of this artifacting lah, hallucinations, dia ada ghosting lah, dia ada fictional apa ni facts yang they just pull out of nowhere ke apa semua ni. These AI tools they just aren't as reliable as you would hope lah sebenarnya. So all of these, whenever we want to use these AI tools for fact finding or fact reliant sort of tasks, you have to take it with apa ni, not just a grain of salt lah, tapi a whole I don't know a bucket full of salt lah kat situ. Sebab they will end up giving you contohnya fake campaign names and then summaries also to follow up. Sometimes bila I do research using chat GPT ni, I akan dapat fake links as well. Dia akan letak lah dekat situ New Straits Times and then with the right apa ni forward slash inilah apa bagai semua tu, then you would think that it is a correct link, tapi bila you tekan kat situ you dapat error 404 every time. So dia akan apa ni, dia akan pull from all of these respective places or from all over the internet ni, and then again like we said just now, they don't know what is right and what is wrong. To them benda tu fakta. Benda tu fakta sebab benda tu ada dekat dalam internet, from all of the data points semua tu lah. So these AI tools they can't differentiate yet between what is true and what is not. They can only regurgitate everything that they have learned from the internet. Itu je. So once you get all of these fake links apa bagai semua, of course there are plugins lah that you could use, link readers lah apa bagai semua tu to sort of like mitigate a little bit all of these things from happening. But I will just say this lah, at the end of the day when you are presenting to a client, you don't want to hear someone say, campaign ni betul ke wujud? Benda ni betul ke wujud? Macam salah aja. You don't want to hear that in the middle of your presentation to your bosses or to your clients lah. Okay, so whatever that you get from ChatGPT, always evaluate dulu. So kalau tak, then masak ah. Memang you are, itu bukan pasrah aja dah. Itu memang you dah letak your neck on the line already. Okay, so another issue is solely relying on AI tools ni is also the homogeneity of the copies though that will end up coming out. Sebab in other words, it's not kan we talk about tunnel vision lah apa bagai semua ni kan. This one is sort of like tunneling juga, tapi tunnel in terms of style of writing, tone of writing semua ni. These AI tools, definitely you can get them to write diverse styles of copy if you put them in the prompt tu. Tapi at the end of the day pun, dia tetap akan limited by what they have learned from other sources lah on the internet tu. So if you want to come up with something truly unique ni, you need to ensure that whatever suggestions that they give out, you need to pour in your human element, your human creativity in juga. Sebab you know what is relevant, you know what is trending, you know what is going to hit with your audience at this current moment ni. Okay, so whenever you get the copies from ChatGPT ni, in the future we are in danger of copywriting becoming very samey tau. Everyone will have the same tone of voice, the same same bahasa, same sort of language is going on. Why? Because everyone will be relying too much on ChatGPT. So bila everyone has the same tone of voice and the same language being used, how do you stand out? You stand out by putting in that human element balik lah into it. Make sure that your role as a copywriter is whatever that comes out from the AI tools ni, you enhance it further. And then whatever that you are putting out pun, kalau you can, you get the AI tools to enhance it further as well. So dekat situ lah, you need to be adaptive in that way. You need to be improvising all the things that you are doing lah. That way you can stay relevant. Sebab kalau tak, then memang you're gonna be left behind lah. So as a replacement for copywriters, AI, nah, definitely not lah. Not anytime soon lah. Anyway, maybe in the next 20 years or something, this thing will take off like crazy, and then who knows? Yeah, the landscape will be totally different by then. Tapi AI as a copywriter's assistant that can make some tasks easier, definitely. Sekarang ni, that is how the best way of using lah these AI tools. So for example, oftentimes I find myself sendiri having a hard time to get started on my copywriting. I can that first step tu yang akan susah tau, that first throw, that because your mind is sort of like running in 100 miles an hour in all sorts of directions tau. You rasa macam direction A ni macam bagus, direction B pun macam bagus, C pun bagus, D bagus, apa all the way into Z. So ChatGPT and Bard ke or any AI tools and it can help you organize your thoughts. So you can put the prompts, relevant prompts into the AI tool tu, and then get it to give you the first 5 viable options contohnya for you to explore on your own. So dekat situ as an assistant, as a PA, definitely use AI tools. Tapi kalau you want to say that they are replacing, no, definitely not. And any company that goes out there and goes all in with replacing their human staff with AI tools, they are going to get a rude awakening sooner or later lah. Something like that. Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shafi and Ms. Ashraf. So what I understand from that is basically the copywriter's job is not in danger for now because the AI has not been that intelligent yet to have that human touch to give in their results. And so we just have to use AI, ChatGPT, for example, as our assistant, and we should not worry that it will, take over our jobs in probably the next 10 or 20 years. Okay, so right now we will be having our Q&A session again. We will take questions from the YouTube live chat. And yeah, so, okay, another question from Chamsley. Social media copywriting is influenced by the algorithm of the apps as well. Any tips to win over the algorithm? Elbow cough. Oh, like that. Okay. So, Mr. Shafi or Mr. Ashraf?
Um, my team and I, even in the government sector, we decided not to actually try to win the algorithm. So the thing is, when you join a team, you have to understand that if as an established organization, they will probably have their corporate identities, their documentation on how did they write on social medias and things like that. Using that as a baseline, then you can start coming up with original content that is genuine, humanized, and like Ashraf once said just now, approachable. Sounded like macam you're not robotic, because the thing is corporate branding tend to be like that. And focus on being a community based kind of thing. A lot of the brands like Magic and Meranti, um, they focus on the audience themselves, and when they create contents and copywriting for their social medias, they often focus on those audience. Because if you're trying to win an algorithm, that's such a broad statement, in terms of we would actually have to ask, okay, you nak buat apa sebenarnya? What's your goal in terms of doing copywriting for social media? Even with the clients, you do have to understand that whatever campaign that you do on social media, either for awareness or either for acquisition, or is it for lead generation, right? Those kind of things. And to basically win is basically to be a good custodian of those brands communities. So that's it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shafi, for the answer. And Mr. Ashraf, do you have anything to add on?
Okay, so when it comes to winning over the algorithm ni, ni susah sikit tau nak kata sebab I think I think Fee pun mentioned this just now. At times, sebenarnya winning over the algorithm ni is not even the um, not viable, tapi not the preferred outcome pun sebenarnya. Sebab if you win over the algorithm lah contohnya, and then you become trending, you become apa ni, the thing that people are talking about these days pun, how sure are you that you are hitting the right audiences? Sebab like we're talking about just now lah, copywriting ni is all about strategy tau. It's all about being strategic in your writing ni. So you need to hit the right audiences, and that's how you will be money lah, or you will make good performance. Sebab contohnya kalau you are talking about subject A tapi you become trending amongst community B, you are going to get a lot of viewers, tapi maybe you're not going to get a lot of likes, you're not going to get a lot of shares, you're not going to get a lot of engagement. So about these community B ni, you tak kisah about whatever that you're talking about. Tapi dia orang nampak. You want the algorithm. Kan? You want the algorithm, you are uh, coming up, on the feed of a lot of these people. Tapi kalau these people that are seeing your posts are not relevant to your industry or to your product or anything, then they're gonna ignore. They're not going to care. They're going to just scroll on through. And so whatever effort that you have done in order to win over the algorithm to is going to go to waste. So dekat situ pun the whole winning over the algorithm tu pun it's a sort of like a futile effort lah, I would say. Now going around back, circling back to what Fee said just now, being genuine though. So this is very interesting. So, but based on our studies juga, we have found that right now we are also in a sort of like transitioning period in terms of the audience though. So not only in terms of the tools that we have, tapi transition in terms of the audience. So back then, it used to be sort of like this one I'm sort of like just remembering off the top of my head last, but I don't have the article open right now. Um, used to be it used to be the era of the product. So that means during the era of the product ni, you jual apa pun, the innovation of that product tu will sell itself. That is how the audience viewed it back then, several decades ago. Afterwards, it became the era of identity, if I'm not mistaken lah. Tapi identity ni, it means that you will buy products recommended by certain people. So dekat sini lah yang we came up with the innovation of having ambassadors, brand ambassadors lah, duta lah, apa bagai semua ni. You have those shows, home improvement, apa bagai semua tu yang you have this host that is talking about the product and they are selling this product. The product tu might not even be good. The product might be totally useless, totally unusable, low quality. Tapi because this specific person said to buy it, then people will buy it. That was back then. And then now we are in an era. I can't quite recall what it was called, tapi it was basically era of community and also era of impact. Okay, sebab there are two things kat sini. Community, one thing is being genuine with your audience. So kiranya you find your niche and then you speak not plainly, tapi you speak honestly with them. You speak in a way that is relatable with them, and then naturally they will feel compelled to be on board with you. So bila you jual benda ke apa bagai semua ni, you are being genuine, then people will tend to believe you. They will want to do things. They will want to buy that product. Sometimes too, they want to buy that product just to support you. Because of how genuine and honest that you are being there. So that one also goes into the second thing tu lah, era of impact. How you and your brand or your whatever lah, your project ke, your movement ke apa semua ni, how it is impacting the environment, how it's impacting society and so on. So people these days, they are very aligned to ideals or beliefs lah. So contohnya, I know a significant chunk of the market, they would spend a lot more than than is standard to get something that is organic, contohnya, or sustainably, has sustainable practices behind them, sustainably sourced, and so on. So they don't mind spending an extra RM5 on certain foods or certain products that are sustainable in terms of their production and so on. So when you are being genuine in terms of the impact that your brand has on the environment or on society, on people's money, all of these things as well can help you to win over the algorithm in that sense. Because when people relate with your brand, they will intrinsically feel like sharing your posting ke, your messages ke, benda-benda macam tu. Sebab yelah in the evil sense, kalau you're a pessimist, then you could say that they will be sharing all of those things to sort of like virtue signal and to make themselves look better. Tapi there's also, you have to be optimistic as well, that there are genuine people out there who really believe in or the impact that you are bringing, and they will be intrinsically sharing all of these things because they believe that it will result in a better world, contohnya. Okay, so these two things you have to consider lah whenever you are doing the copywriting for your social media ke, not just social media tapi anything that your brand is trying to convey. Be genuine, and then also consider what impacts that you bring to the world lah. And then from there you can talk about how to relate to the audience lah, macam tu.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashraf and Mr. Shafi. So again, what I understand is it's not redundant or ineffective to win over the algorithm. It is okay to win the algorithm, but that does not give you a proper result from the actual community that actually wants to baca to believe in your product. Because people in the algorithm might just read it and don't they don't care about whatever that is shown to them. But you need to appeal to a specific audience, and like Mr. Ashraf said, be genuine so that it is effective and relatable to the audience that you are targeting. Thank you so much again for the answers. And unfortunately, we are approaching the end of our forum discussion. So I would like to extend my gratitude to our speakers, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf, for sharing their expertise to us in this lovely evening. Right now, I will pass the stage back to our MC, Ms. Sarah Zaki. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kabir. I hope everyone enjoyed today's sharing session. Now, please join me to thank our guest speakers, Mr. Shafi Mustafa and Mr. Mohammad Ashraf. Thank you, Mr. Shafi and Mr. Ashraf, for sharing your valuable knowledge and your respective experiences in the field of copywriting with us. I personally find the input and exposure shared today to be very constructive and useful, a great food for thought for the rest of us. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our event today. I hope today's session provided everyone with further guidance and insight in having copywriting as a potential prospect to pursue as your future career. Thank you, everyone. Please don't forget to fill in the feedback form shared in the live chat before you leave. I would like to request Mr. Zach, our guest speakers, Mr. Shafi Mustafa, and Mr. Mohammad Ashraf, Kabir, and fellow technical team to remain on this platform for our photography session at the end of the live stream. I am Sarah Zakir, signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant day ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bye.
Copywriting.